welcome to Keeping It Real with KC. I am your host, KC Phoenix. It is officially the weekend. So, okay, I'm trying to think, what do I want to start with? All of a sudden, I just got a whole burst of energy, but I guess that's a good thing. Okay, let's start with this. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, and several other podcasting platforms. So listen to whatever platform works best for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Feel free to follow, like, share, whatever. Also, if you are watching any of the videos, feel free to give a like. Feel free to subscribe to the channels, whether it be this one or Daily Motion. Well, this one meaning YouTube or Daily Motion. Don't forget to share. Sharing is caring. And yeah, so I'm doing the movie recommendation. I had said at the beginning of the week that I was planning on doing a movie recommendation. Then I mentioned recently, yesterday or the day before yesterday, that I added another movie to this because I watched a second movie and I was like, oh yeah, I love that movie too. So I'm doing both these movies. In addition to that, I'm doing the mid-month energy readings for all 12 astrological signs. So the mid-month energy readings for April for all 12 signs. And I was planning on starting it no later than Monday. But it looks like I will be doing at least 2 or 3 today. My goal is to do 3, at least 3 today, and then do the rest throughout the week, starting on Monday, and doing it that way. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on. I guess I need to get to the movie recommendations, don't I? Okay. So the first movie, I watched this movie at the beginning of the week. Hence why I decided to do the movie recommendation. Because the crazy thing is because when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this reminds me of Godzilla versus Kong in a way. And it's one of my favorite movies. I love this movie as a kid growing up because my grandfather, we would watch martial arts movies or kung fu movies or ninja movies when I was a kid. He loved his westerns, but he also loved wrestling and he loved martial arts movies. He had a ton of martial arts movies. And one of the movies that I would watch all the time was Northern Kicks, Southern Fist. And it went by another name because I didn't find out until many, many years later that it was actually a sequel. The name of it is Secret Rivals. And it's for that one, I believe it's Secret Rivals 3. And you can watch it on YouTube, actually. Type in Secret Rivals 3, and it will more than likely bring it up. And what it is about, it's about these two guys. And one guy, for his martial arts, he focuses mostly on his hands. That's what he does. All of his moves. I mean, he does stuff with his legs, but the bulk of his martial arts moves are hand-based, arm-based, is what he does. So he is known as, I guess, the Southern Fist. And then you have the other guy who, yes, he does some hand stuff, but most of his stuff is leg based. He was my favorite because I have long legs, for those who don't know. I'm a 33 inseam when it comes to pants, but I wear a 34, obviously. So yeah. And the same thing with my mother. She's short, but not short, but she's like 5. How tall is my mother? My mother's 5'9", I think. 5'9" or 5'10". I want to say 5'9". But she still has like a 34 inseam. She has very long legs. And I like the martial arts guy who was using his legs. Because also I took a form of kickboxing, which Shotokan is a karate. It's a mixture of kickboxing and other types of martial arts when I was younger. And also I love to kick too. So for that, I was all in on this guy. And some of his stuff, I would practice holding up my leg for long periods of time, trying to mimic what he did. And some things I could do what he did. And I always thought it was cool how long he could keep his leg up, and just do moves with his leg in the air. It's something that you have to practice, like anything, to become efficient at it. You have to practice it over and over and over again. And I was always practicing doing that. But the story is, spoiler alert, here's where the Godzilla King Kong comes in, but this is a little bit more nefarious. Godzilla and King Kong fought because they thought that Godzilla was the bad guy. And there were some other people doing some shady stuff, of course, behind the scenes. My other phone went off. And that was a little bit different. For Northern Kick, Southern Fist, they specifically did stuff to get these two guys to fight. The guy who uses mostly his fist and the guy who uses mostly his legs to fight. The main guy, which the bad guy, the villain, Chupa-Ten is his name. Chupa-Ten's brother or brothers, the Northern Kicks guy, which his name isn't coming to me right now, but he was a police officer. He caught, back in the day, which I guess that would be in Secret Rivals 2, which I still haven't ever watched it yet. I never had any desire to. He caught his brothers, Chupa-Ten's brothers, and the brothers were then executed for their crimes because the brothers had killed people and done all types of stuff. So Chupa-Ten finds that guy's brother, and then he kills that guy's brother using a knife from the fist, which is I want to say his name's Lee Tung. I think that's what his name is, or whatever. But long story short, the Southern Fist guy, he was framed for killing the other guy's brother. And Chupa-Ten is behind all of this. So Chupa-Ten didn't want to fight either one of them, even though he was the better martial artist than both of them, because Chupa-Ten worked for a warlord, and the warlord was going to take over the area. And if Chupa-Ten came in and overthrew the people, specifically the Southern Fist guy, then he was afraid that the people would turn against him because obviously he's the outsider coming in to take over. So that's why he hatched that plan. He got a twofer. He would go ahead and get the Southern Fist guy to fight the Northern Kicks guy. They would duke it out, more than likely take each other out, or one would take out the other, and then Chupa-Ten would swoop in and take out the rest and take it over for the warlord. Also, he would get revenge for his brothers being killed. I know, right? So throughout all of this, there is this other guy who is a wood carver, but he wants to learn martial arts. And neither one of them, he went to the Southern Fist guy, and the Southern Fist guy refused to take him as a student. And then when the Northern Kicks guy came into town, trying to find, who's responsible for the murder of his brother, he asked him, and then he wouldn't take him as a student. And it just so happens that there was an incident that he was a witness to that was going to help with the investigation of what happened to the Northern Kicks guy's brother. So he's like, well, I'll give you the information if you take me on as your student. And then that's what he did, and he became a student. And then the Southern Fist guy noticed that he was hanging out with the Northern Kicks guy. And the Southern Fist guy is like, well, I want you to tell me what's going on with you and him. And he's like, well, I'll tell you if you take me on as your student. So then he starts receiving training from both of them, is what he does. And he gets better. And a whole bunch of other stuff happened. Obviously, I'm not going to go into all of that during this. You just have to watch it. The title on YouTube is Secret Rivals 3, is what it is. But the movie was known as Northern Kicks, Southern Fist, is what it was known as. And it's an amazing movie. I am strongly recommending it, especially at the end, because you have the Godzilla King Kong moment at the end. When everything, because there's other stuff that happens. Because for people who follow my movie recommendations, I tell some spoilers. I don't tell all the spoilers. There's some other stuff that happens at the end. And yeah, then they eventually team up and fight Chupa 10, is what happens. And then that goes down. But there's things that lead up to that. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. You just have to watch the movie. But that is one movie I recommend. Now, let me get to the second movie. So I started watching this other movie, which also I watched at my grandfather's house. My grandfather, my mother's father, he used to watch a lot of movies. My dad's father, not so much, because it's weird. My grandfather, he worked a lot. My mother's father worked a lot. But as time went on, he didn't work as much. But my dad's father, he was pretty much working till the end, is what that was. So my mother's father, I called him Papa. My Papa, I would usually be there watching movies with him. And this was another movie that I had seen at his house. And this movie has Carl Weathers in it. Carl Weathers, for those of you who may not know, if you remember Rocky 4 and Rocky 1 and Rocky 2 and Rocky 3, but mostly Rocky 4, because that's when, it happens. And for those who have seen Rocky 4, you know what I'm talking about. Carl Weathers, and he's been in other movies too. But one of my favorite movies that Carl Weathers was in is Action Jackson. If you have not seen Action Jackson, you need to see it. Simply because there is this group of people who are pretty much assassins, and one of them uses butterfly knives. And the way he does the thing with the butterfly knife all the time, which I love butterfly. I actually have, I have one. I lost my other butterfly knife. I still have one. I had a green one, but I don't know what happened to it. I have a black one now. But his work with butterfly knives is so amazing. I love it. And also Vanity is in Action Jackson too. If you remember The Last Dragon, Vanity was in that. She was the lead in that. Vanity is in Action Jackson too, with playing opposite of Carl Weathers with Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone is in Action Jackson, who I love. Sharon Stone. I actually watched Basic Instinct last night. But I digress. So for those who don't know, and I'll just give you some spoilers. Action Jackson is about a cop who was demoted because he went after this person, I guess you could say an elite person's son, and managed to get the son put away, but he was demoted in the process. Because the guy had so much pull and power, he got Jackson demoted. Also, Jackson assaulted the son and broke his arm. And one of my favorite things that was said when Jackson's boss had said to him, "You nearly ripped off his arm." And Jackson was like, "So what? He had a spare." So Action Jackson is an amazing, amazing movie. And it's really, really good. Like, I think it was slept on. I think it was slept on like Beverly Hills Cop 2. I still think people slept on Beverly Hills Cop 2. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is still my favorite Beverly Hills Cop, mostly because of Brigitte Nielsen. But yeah, Action Jackson, that is the second movie I'm recommending with Carl Weathers. Can I get my words out? I have so much energy and everything else. So yeah, in the end, obviously, he saves the girl and all that other stuff. But one of the funny parts that he said to the guy's name is Delaplane, last name is Delaplane, that's the villain. And he said to him, he said, one day you're going to piss me off, is what Action Jackson said to him. And, and then something happened. And then finally he said, now you piss me off. And then, yeah, that's what happened with that. You have to see the movie to see what I'm talking about. I love Action Jackson. So those two movies, Northern Kick, Southern Fist, but the title to find it under is Secret Rivals 3 is the title. Secret Rivals 3. You can look it up on YouTube and watch it. If you're into old school martial arts movies. If you're not, if that's not your thing, skip over it. It's whatever. And then the other movie, which came out in the 80s, Action Jackson with Carl Weathers. So yeah, those are my two movie recommendations that I have. So let me go ahead and get going. I have to get some of these readings done, and then that's going to be that. All right. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Sharing is caring, and all that other jazzy stuff. Until next time, be blessed.